Hello, everybody. This is the Chocolate News Podcast, and this week's podcast is sponsored by the Ohio Lottery. Give it fun, Ohio. Play responsibly. I'm your co-host, John Alexander Reese.
And I'm your co-host, Andria Carter.
And if you did not know, the Cincinnati Herald has been around since 1955 and is the leading African-American owned newspaper in the greater Cincinnati area and northern Kentucky area. How's it going, Andrea?
John, it is going fantastic. Can I just say, as a news junkie, I am in seventh heaven this week to how much news has been going on. I cannot believe it. My phone has been pinging off the hook with all these notifications I've been getting. So I'm a happy camper today.
All right. So what's the chocolate news this week?
Well, the chocolate news this week is I'll start off with what happened today. We're all in that unique nirvana of, yes, we're watching what happens politically. No, I can't stand it anymore. I don't care what happens. I'm putting my foot down, blah, 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 blah. Well, another saga in the U.S. political soap opera of politics. The DOJ released its federal indictment of New York Representative George Santos today, the man who would lie for everything.
Oh, yes.
I never knew someone could lie more than Donald Trump. I didn't know that could happen. Oh my God. Well, excuse me. I'm sorry. Let me reverse that. Allegedly lie like allegedly Donald Trump.
Yes.
Make sure I put the alleged in there because we don't know if it's true. But then again, I'll get the Trump in a minute. But George Santos, he was hit with a 13-count indictment by federal prosecutors that included 7 counts of wire fraud, 3 counts of money laundering, 1 count of theft of public funds, and 2 counts of making materially false statements to the House of Representatives. And this is the man that New York voted to represent them in the House of Congress.
Yes, they did.
And I'm just kind of like, who else will be indicted this year from Congress? Just saying, there's so many out there, Anyway, so he was arrested today, and he appeared in court. He made bail, $500,000 bail. He is limited to 3 areas that he can go: his house, DC, and 1 other place in New York, and that's it. He cannot go overseas. He cannot go anyplace else. If he does any campaigning outside of his district, he must let the powers that be know. And this is it. Now, he has refused calls for his resignation. There are more and more people of GOP members of the House of Representatives are calling for his resignation. I'm surprised that they have not sanctioned him or removed him from his committees yet. Now he's an indicted U.S. representative. Technically, he's still innocent until proven guilty, though there's been so much evidence brought out about a number of news organizations that I'm surprised that he hasn't been convicted already. So that happened today. As much as we have in our representatives here in Ohio, our guys who we have issues with look tame compared to this guy. So, if we put him in context, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he's quite the character, I will say that.
Oh my God. One news organization was talking about him, how he took the donors' money to his campaign and transferred to his own personal account so he could pay bills, buy clothes, and just live the life. And it's like, you're not supposed to do that. You can't do that. People get dinged for that. People have lost elections over doing that. And this guy, when he appeared, there was a press conference after he walked out of the courthouse today. He then accused Biden and his family of also doing illegal activities, claiming that they've gotten money from all illegal acts and then some. Instead of defending himself and his actions, he's trying to blame Biden. He's trying to do a Trump-esque issue. And I was like, dude, you're so screwed. You recognize it and you're trying to get out of it and you can't. So, but that was George Santos. Bad day in New York. Now he's back in DC, quote, going back to work. And I'm like, but he has to appear in court again on June 30th. So
That should be entertaining.
I think this is going to be more of the interesting court cases that we're going to see as it progresses. I'm just amazed that his attorneys just said, cut a deal. Just cut a deal. There's so much evidence proving what he did was wrong, and he's lied about everything. It's unreal. But anyway,
Yeah.
it irks me. But anyway, then on the other hand, we have people have used many adjectives to describe Donald Trump, our former 45th president. A jury found him liable against what he said and did against E. Jean Carroll, the columnist who accused him of raping her. And even though she's in her 70s, when this incident occurred, I believe it was in the 90s, under a new law, New York law, victims of an alleged criminal incident can sue their would-be attacker under this new law. So Jean Carroll, who she said she'd been defamed by Donald Trump, won against him yesterday.
Yeah.
A jury, which was mainly made up of men, it was mainly, there are only 3 women on this jury, the rest were men. And 3 hours of deliberating, they came back, not only found him liable, but awarded her $5 million.
Yep.
Now, Trump's attorneys do claim that they're going to appeal the verdict, because they're saying that they're wrong, that it's not true. They should never have introduced the videotape from Access Hollywood. And I was like, they didn't introduce the videotape from Access Hollywood. They asked him in his deposition. They asked Donald Trump in the deposition that was played for the courtroom about the Access Hollywood tape. And then they handed him a picture of Jean Carroll. And he said, and I quote, "Well, that's my ex-wife. That's Marla. That's Marla." And it was Jean Carroll. Where he said that she wasn't even his type. But the fact that he didn't even know that it was her in that photograph, in this deposition played for the jury, disproved everything he had said, that she wasn't his type. Now, mind you, Trump did not appear in court. He did not testify other than the deposition that was played by the defense. And I'm sorry, played for by the prosecutors, not by the defense. So Trump's attorney says it should never been played. They should never ask that question. It should Access Hollywood should never been introduced. But what was in the deposition, they asked about Access Hollywood. At first, he sort of poo-pooed it, and then he sort of claimed that statement that he said, and he said, "Yeah, I'm sort of considered a star. That's what we can do about other women who are stars. That's what we can do to them."
Yeah.
So he proved that people of a certain stature or weight in his mind that he deems he can go ahead and do this to anybody because he's a star. I won't be crude and say what he said, but everyone knows it. They've heard it.
Yeah, you can just Google it and just see the wonderful words that one of our former presidents said.
And what's sad is there are more people who are not believing that he did this. They're all into Trump, saying this is political, it's a witch hunt, it's all this and that. When in fact, if you look at his deposition, he's, that's probably the most truthful he's ever been in his life in that deposition.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay. But they also say that now Trump is vulnerable because he still faces early next year the trial by the New York Attorney General. He's still facing a possible indictment by the prosecutor in Georgia, who her indictment should be coming down either in June or July. So it's just interesting. He's claiming he's finding all these excuses but he's never had to be held accountable for his actions. And as one person said, that box, that big wide box that he has lived in, where he had the bumpers and everyone protected him, he's finding now that that box is not so big anymore, and those bumpers are not protecting him like they used to.
Yep.
And very slowly, I think at some point, somebody's going to have to say to him, you're going to have to plead guilty. You're going to have to take a deal. Because if you notice, everyone who is in Trump world blames everybody else for their actions, but don't take the responsibility of their own actions. It's the Black person's fault. It's the Hispanic person's fault. It's that person's fault. It's oh, they don't like me. Oh, this is a witch hunt. This is political. Why is it everybody's fault for actions that are happening to you, but no one questions your behavior? If you and I did this, we would be found guilty.
Oh, yeah.
We would be in jail, and we would be ridiculed up the wazoo, all over the place. My fear is, what is this telling our young people about this behavior? I mean, like I told you earlier, I work for an organization where I'm going through and, looking at litter in a neighborhood and picking it up, trying to impact behavior of the smallest step to respect the neighborhood by just picking up your trash. And, see people every day hanging out and dropping trash on the ground. I'm like, no. Pick that up. Take the simplest of responsibility. Pick up your trash. You did it.
It's
No
so
one else did.
simple.
It's so simple, and I know everyone is not raised the same way. Everyone has a different viewpoint in life and how to act. But, at some point, collectively as a society, there are certain things that we deem that's supposed to happen.
Exactly.
So that's enough about him and Trump. But, it won't be distant. I'm surprised we're not Trumped out. We're tired. I'm surprised the world is not suffering from PTSD of Trump. And I'm going to come up. I'm going to come up with a disease name, but I haven't come up with it yet. So I'm going to come up. It's a mental health disease. I just haven't come up with the right name yet.
Was it like Trump delusion syndrome or something like that?
Maybe, or suffering from TP. No, I can't do that. No, I can't say that. No, I'm going to come up with something. So, right. But anyway, that being said, one tragic thing that occurred over the weekend that we're still reeling from and hearing about are the actually 8 people who were killed or injured during the shootout at the Outlet Mall in, I believe it was Allen, Texas.
Yep.
And, I lived in Texas for a year. I lived in Abilene, Texas, which is 3 hours outside of Dallas. And I'm trying to figure out where Allen is. And, they're just 25 miles from Dallas. And I'm like, I can't remember if it's south, north, west. I don't remember where it is. Because there's some great places to live in Texas, even though I question everybody's politics. But anyway, their chili is fantastic. The steaks are wonderful. And it is the best place to live when you're trying to get away from the cold. That being said, their hailstones are bigger. So you have to be on the watch out for that. Their shopping is decent. And everyone gives you a nice smile and you just say howdy. So, but that being said, what happened in Allen is kind of a shame. I'm still trying to figure out why the person did what they did at the Outlet Mall, why they chose that place. And some of the victims of the shooting was actually this Korean family. They're American, they're Korean American, cute little kids. The husband and wife were very nice. They looked, very much in love with each other. And the They had two sons, and it was the parents. One son has survived the shooting, but everyone else is dead. And he, I
That's
believe,
so sad, man.
his family is wiped out in one go. Going to the mall. How do you recover from that? Um,
It's gonna take a lot of years of therapy. That's all I gotta say.
oh yeah, because I mean, his trust issues, his family issues. Oh my God, it's just horrible. It just wounds me to think that family members, an entire family was wiped out because someone was crazy enough to pick up a gun, go into a public space and shoot.
And he was a neo-Nazi white supremacist too. So just pointing that out.
That doesn't mean you go into a mall and shoot someone just because you don't like people. Come on.
Yeah, I
But I mean,
know.
but again, we're getting to a place where, is it safe to go to a mall? Is it safe to ring a doorbell? Is it safe to go to the gas station? Is it safe to go to the grocery store? Is it safe to go to the library? I mean, I know we live with a lot as we venture out each day, but come on, you know, it's just because you don't like someone does not mean you should kill them. You don't have that right. But as this continues on, we'll find out more. We'll see what happens. But unfortunately, with this incident, it was the 202nd mass shooting incident in the US since January.
So sad. Oh my goodness.
Now, there are 365 days in a year, and we're already up to, it's not even a year, it's not even 6 months yet of the year.
Yeah.
And we're up to 202. When do people say enough is enough? When?
Never. Never.
I just don't understand it. I
But
just don't.
Second Amendment, so whatever.
I know. So on the flip side of this, I have two interesting things that are going to happen. First, I'll do the announcement. And remember how when they were going through the voting and we got to hear Hakeem Jeffries speak several times,
Yes.
including that one point where he gave a reason why he should be elected speaker by going through the alphabet and breaking down everyone's actions A to Z. Well, I'm glad to say that come in October 7th at 6 p.m. at the Duke Energy Center, Hakeem Jeffries will be speaking in Cincinnati at the annual NAACP Freedom Fund dinner. I will be there. I'm going to get my ticket. I cannot wait to hear him speak. He is going to be phenomenal. I think he's going to give us great insight going into the primary season of the presidential election. He is right there at the seat of power. He knows what's going on. He's being counseled by Nancy Pelosi. And I think that he is someone that we need to watch and see, because I have a feeling down the road he might be the next president. Down the road, he might be a presidential candidate, or at least a something down the road, because I see good things happening with him. So he's coming. So everyone who wants a ticket, tickets are ooh, they're a little pricey. They're $95 per person this year. Ooh, inflation. But at the same time, I hope they don't serve chicken for $95. What do you think, John?
You know what? It is quite pricey, but at the same time, and yeah, I hope they better serve something better than chicken. Give me some prime rib or steak or something. But it's a chance to hear Hakeem Jeffries speak, and like you said, he could be presidential candidate. For all we know, he could be the next Obama. So
I think he has some excellent qualities. He has great insight, and I think we should do better than a chicken dinner.
oh
Anyway,
yes, definitely.
and as we get closer to the date, we should even try. Maybe we should even try and get him on our podcast to talk
Ooh,
about.
that'd be great.
Yeah. So we're going to work on that.
Yes.
That being said, the final chocolate news of the evening, I think is something that has been swept by the wayside with all that's been going on, but it's still something that we need to take a look at. There's a California panel that's taking a look at paying out $800 billion in reparation payments to Black residents and also issuing a formal apology in California. I think that's interesting.
It's very interesting.
I think how this is going to happen is going to be, because some people will not like the fact that Black people are getting money.
Oh no, they would not like that. I believe it's I think they said it's going to cost like $800 billion because, and so that would mean they would have to pay out 1.1 million per person. So even when Uncle Sam takes out his share, you got what, like 600,000, 700,000.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm gonna say is, first of all, this is never gonna happen. I gotta be realistic, and this is never gonna happen, at least in my lifetime. It may happen in the future, you never know. But I know this is never gonna happen in my lifetime. But if it were to happen, well, first of all, even if it did happen in California, it's never gonna happen in the red states, including Ohio. So,
Yes.
but just saying, by some miracle, if it were to happen, I'd be super, super happy. And just saying, that money would go back into the economy
It would.
because our people, we will go on the spending spree.
Mm-hmm.
Certain industries would be supported more than others. I'm not going to say which,
Yes.
you know which ones,
Yes.
but you know, I do find it kind of sad that we never got our reparations for help building this country. But at the
Yes.
same time, instead of doing reparations, though, even though I would love that, try to invest more in our community. I think that would be a compromise, but I don't see that happening either.
Really
But
and truly, you know what I thought reparation would come through the IRS,
mm,
where we would have a specific discount.
yes,
Like,
that I would like that too. It's
I
like,
mean, it's a
can
way
I
of
can
putting
I can
money.
I just or can I just not pay taxes for like 10 years? That would be good too.
Well, I would just say that since our tax money has been abused a lot, not benefiting us, but I would just say that if we were to, you know, reparations, how do you prove? One is, how do you prove that your family was a victim of slavery?
Yeah.
Because I can see all kinds of requirements to get through this.
I mean, I,
Um,
I guess I have to go all Alex Haley and try to trace my roots all the way back.
oh yeah, I
But
mean, it's interesting. My family tree, we have done that already. We know from our grandparents on both sides, goes all the way back to slavery.
oh wow.
And in fact, my great, is it great? I think it's three greats. My great grandfather, he was lived down in Missouri on the family. When he was interviewed by, remember the slave narratives that were done during the Great Depression
Yeah,
to get
yes.
people. He was interviewed for the Missouri portion of the slave narratives. Now, his story is not in the book that came out from Missouri, but his interview is on the website for the slave narratives.
Really?
Yes, and he
Hmm.
talked about being a slave, um, and he emphasized the education for his children. And he talked about my Aunt Alice, his daughter, Alice Smart, who not only got her doctorate, and she was teaching in education, but she traveled a lot. She would even travel to Germany and some other places. She wrote a travel book as well. I think I have a copy of it.
Mm.
And she, he talked about her. He talked about, they had a family farm. They lived in Festus, Missouri. Now, Festus is this, well, when I saw it, it was a one stoplight town, but I think now they got two in a Walmart. But they were from my grandfather's family was from Festus, Missouri, and then
Hmm.
my grandmother's family was from another part of, I think, from St. Louis, Missouri. So my family originated in Missouri, and we can go back. We know the family began. I forgot which side was it, the Barber side or the Buffer side? I believe my grandfather's side of the family began with a set of twins. No, I take that back. I'm reversing it. My grandmother's side of the family began with a set of twins given to the son of a slave owner as a gift because he left home, bought a farm in Missouri, and went back to where they lived to get the twins and another slave. And he took them, but our family began with these set of twins. That was my grandmother's side. My grandfather's side, I don't remember exactly. It was another name the family had before Bufford. And he because it was Smart. The family name was Smart. Then it became McGee because my mother's maiden name was McGee.
Right.
But the original family name was Smart because my grandmother's maiden name was Bufford, and the Buffords came from the Barbers, and blah blah blah. So that's what I know about my family's ancestry. I've done, but I've also was adopted into the family because I was adopted from birth, and I've done ancestry, and that's been an interesting trip. That's another conversation. But it's just interesting to discover, what's in your DNA. And I'm from the not Congo. I forgot there's a certain portion of people have come from this one part of Africa. And I have Euro-American, German-American, Euro-American. This one specific part of Africa, I cannot remember right now, is not Nigeria. It's the other one that was close to the Congo, and I can't think of it right now. So, but I'm just saying, how do you prove, your history?
Yeah.
But I just
hard.
thought, but because there's such an imbalance of wealth and money in this country, that I just thought, it would come through the IRS, and that we would get a special code handed out in a very secretive way. That way people would not take advantage of this,
Gotcha.
even though it would come out.
Oh yeah.
But we would get a special code, and maybe for a certain portion of 10 years or 15 years, we could use this special code that we get, an excess amount taken off of our taxes. Like we get that, we do the standard deduction. Well, we would get another deduction, and that would be our reparations.
Or something else. We can just go back to 40 acres and a mule, or just land in general. Land, if not money, land. That would be good also. But like I said, probably not going to happen. I would say 100% not going to happen.
Well,
but still, it's nice to think about, though.
Well, you know what? I would say never say never.
That is true. I shouldn't say that. I should never say never. There may be like 1% chance that may happen.
There's probably a 10% chance that it may occur. Only the reason why I give it 10% is because we said we would never have a Black president, and we had Obama for 8 years.
True.
So, the fact that any Black child or girl, I should put it like this, any child of color can become president.
Yep.
There's that door has been opened, that glass ceiling has been broken. So, like, there have been Black CEOs of major corporations. We have Black millionaires and billionaires, blah, 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 blah. So, it's just a matter of how do we spread the wealth to give everybody a shot at owning something, or a shot at having money, or be able to say, okay, I have the savings account. Boom.
But you know what? Every time I think about reparations for Black people, I always go back to that Dave Chappelle skit, which makes me laugh so much. If you've never seen the Dave Chappelle, it's part of Chappelle Show, Black People Reparations, go check it out. You can find it somewhere, but it's hilarious.
Well, we would all go on a spending spree. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would try to
Mm,
invest my money too, but I gotta admit, I would go on a spending spree.
oh, I would invest, but I would go on a little spending spree too.
Oh yeah,
But
most
at the same
definitely.
time, and but I would make sure, when I got a little money from when my mother passed, I was like, I paid off most of my bills.
Yeah,
So I'm not all the way debt free, but I'm a little lighter than I was.
right,
So,
right.
but anyway, so that is the chocolate news for today. We are going to be watching um a couple things to bring up: NBA playoffs,
Yep.
um, baseball. Will the Reds continue? They're doing better than I expected.
Yeah, that's good.
But normally they always do better before the All-Star game, and then after the All-Star game, it's a different story. So
Yep.
I'm just gonna wait and see until after the All-Star game, see what happens. And we'll just have to wait and watch and see what's gonna happen next and get it build up from there. So,
Yeah,
but
we'll
that is all
see.
the chocolate news for today.
All right. Thank you, Andrea. And once again, this week's podcast is sponsored by the Ohio Lottery. Keep it fun, Ohio. Play responsibly. And you can find more information about today's topics and past podcast episodes at www.thecincinnatiherald.com, the Sesh newsletter, or on our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app. Our podcast is on Apple, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Amazon, YouTube, and Google Podcasts. In addition, the Cincinnati Herald is now looking for news distribution and delivery agents. Please contact our publisher, Walter White, at 513-680-7076 for more information. I'm John Alexander Reese,
And I'm Andrea Carter.
and have a good day.